Yachts and Thoughts. Hope you're drinking your lemon ginger water, or in this case it's nighttime, so I'm drinking kombucha. Trying a new brand, we'll see what it does. Tonight's video will be about 3 separate subjects: self-deprecation or self-deprecating behavior, passive-aggressive behavior, and offhand remarks or behavior. The first one that we'll start with is passive-aggressive behavior, how to handle this, and why it's important to be aware of those around you that are passive-aggressive, or if you yourself are being passive-aggressive. First, passive-aggressive. Passive-aggressive behaviors are those that involve acting indirectly aggressive rather than directly aggressive. Passive-aggressive people regularly exhibit resistance to requests or demands from family and other individuals, often by procrastinating, excessive sullenness, or acting stubborn. I've recently, run into passive-aggressive behaviors. Even lost a job over passive-aggressive behaviors, at least exhibited towards me, that I recognized and did not interact with or react to properly. So passive-aggressive behavior can be, in my opinion, a detriment to both the party exhibiting the behavior and the parties absorbing said behaviors. It's a behavior that I run into often, or at least a phrase or wording that I run into often. I'm in the hospitality, industry, and I usually stay in good shape. And one of the things I hear most common, that I've been telling people that I've been hearing for years, is, "Man, you're in good shape. Bet you could kick my ass." Which, well, why would I? I'm a bartender, not a MMA fighter, so I don't know if I'm just going to run around. In fact, MMA fighters aren't running around just beating people up. It's just a dangerous person for you to get into a fight with, really. Or it must be nice to be so skinny. It can be anything. Anything where you feel that the gesture, comment, or action is somewhat in spite, maybe, of you or the situation. Or I notice passive-aggressive behaviors all the time in people, and I think the reason that these behaviors are something that you should be aware of when navigating your environment is because passive-aggressive behaviors may be anger or resentment towards the subject that these behaviors are exuded. Basically meaning that if someone says these things to you, they may feel a certain way about you that they're not being completely transparent with. But if you're able to, I'd say, maybe sort through, or if you're able to kind of read in between the lines when people are with the words people choose to cast your way, I guess, it's going to be easier for you to navigate the situation, because if you can understand that there may be some underlying aggression, envy, or hate of some type towards you, it'll be easier for you to navigate that person. Also, if you're able to recognize that these people may have or exude these types of behaviors towards other people or towards yourself, it's something that you can learn to navigate so that the interaction and the actions taken maybe on the other party, taken by the other party, don't really have damage in your life, meaning you don't react or interact with them in a way based on their behavior towards you that may be a detriment to you. Like if someone's raging, if someone's raging or very mad, it's always good to be the person that can calm them down, exude a type of energy that will calm them and understand. And if you're able to assess the situation, then you can kind of use the proper wording to maybe calm that person, or harness whatever energy that's being kind of cast out at that time. For me, recently I had an interaction with a job, or with a work event. So an interaction in an event with a coworker, and I had no idea at first that this person was being passive-aggressive, because I try to stay in a good mindset when it comes to people, and I give people the benefit of the doubt, at least on face value with my interactions. Meaning if I work with you, I work with you. As long as you're doing your job, I'm not the person who's going to judge you or anything on anything outside of your job. I don't really care what you're doing in the outside world if we're working well together. But in this particular situation, it turns out the person did have some animosity towards me, and not for reasons that I could even understand. And in this situation, once I kind of found out that this person, didn't like me, that some of the behaviors that I didn't really recognize the passive aggression in before, I could in hindsight now see the passive, the aggression, the maybe animosity. In hindsight, I could see it, but I wasn't aware of it or cognizant of it at the time. And if I was a little bit more, less in my zone, I maybe could have read these things. But because it's a work environment, sometimes you're just doing your. In hindsight, the reason that passive aggression, at least in a work environment or close quarters where you are, with family, friends, anything where it's just a close quarters type of scenario, it's important to be aware of maybe others' feelings towards you. You could be doing great in life, and people might find envy in that and say or do things that are of detriment to you because they themselves are unable to either accomplish what they perceive you have. They're unable to accomplish what they perceive you are. Really what's going on is just a mixture of feelings, and at some point in time you could be the target or you could be the person exuding these behaviors towards others. Basically all I'm saying is that in the world around you, it's important to understand your interactions and the reactions maybe of those you are interacting with. If you're able to read energies and navigate the language, as you play these little games with each other in conversation. If you're able to see small microaggressions, any sort of aggressions, maybe tells in the person's speech patterns, you can always, I'm always able. It's easy for me to kind of pick up when someone's lying, even if I don't tell them that I know that they're lying. It just helps me navigate the situation. So as not to put too much effort into this vessel, because this vessel may lack, accountability, a whole lot of other things. Just what I do know is that when you're running into passive aggression and it's geared towards you, it's important to learn how to navigate around that and not react to that. That's all I got on this one.